Currently 221 subs from 40,000. We're getting there. We're getting there. What is up, Finn fans? So, if you can tell by the title, we're going to be reacting to some film breakdowns. I don't know what happened with the twosome in my mouth, but hey, what are you going to do? Jason Kruger Sports 2 days ago came out with a film study. How should we feel about Tua Tagovailoa for the Miami Dolphins? I have not watched this. This is going to be an instant reaction. So we're going to watch together his film breakdown. Go subscribe to his channel. He does some fantastic film fake downs. Dyslexia. You got to love it. Film breakdowns. And I'm going to do one of my own. If you guys remember last year, I did the best and worst of Tua. I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to do film. I'm going to go through all of his film, all 12 games, and I'm going to do some of his best and worst. And we're going to break him down and see where he needs to get better and where he's been better and all that good stuff. And then PFF comes out with their yearly deep dive, quarterback catalog. We're going to look at that, break that down. Told you, I don't take breaks. We're getting closer. I think in a couple days, Wednesday is the start of March, and then March 12th, March 13th, 14th, tampering period. March 15th is the start of free agency. And on March 12th is my 5-year anniversary of doing this. So I'm going to do something special for that as well. Maybe by then we hit 40K and I could do a big old razzmatazz. But before we jump into the film breakdown, I do want to thank two new members, and Jason Mitchell and John Embry and son Bryce Embry. Thank you guys so much for becoming members. Just feel like I've read comments on other platforms, and I've read comments on Reddit, and I've read comments on Twitter, and I just want to let you guys know, right? Because some people say I push this, and I know I don't, and I know a lot of you guys are like, you don't push it, and I understand that, but I just want to re-emphasize, don't ever feel like you need to join the Patreon, and don't ever feel like you need to become a member. You watching, liking, and most importantly to me is commenting. I want to hear from you guys. Is all you need to do. You don't even need to subscribe. If you're like, it's not my thing, Doug, all power to you. You can watch, and if maybe down the road you're like, I do like this, I like the way you've grown, hit that subscribe button. If not, I appreciate the watch, and I appreciate definitely comment regardless. Don't ever feel like you need to become a member. Don't ever feel like you need to become a Patreon. But when you do, and if you do, I will shout you out. And I'll love you for it, because it is giving so much support to the channel, so much support to me, so much support to being able to have film breakdowns, because that costs money, getting the film, to being able to do the live streams, because it costs money, being able to keep all this stuff going, better equipment, better this, better that. So you're supporting the channel, and that's why when I say we break 40K, it's because of the Patreons, it's because of the members, it's because of the mods, it's because of the guys hitting the subscribe button, it's because of everyone commenting, it's because of everyone watching. It's us. It's not me. I put it out there, but you guys support it, you guys share it, you guys help us. So I just wanted to clarify that. Don't ever feel like you need to do it. But when you do, I will give you the shout out and everything, because you greatly, greatly deserve it for helping the channel as much as you do. So let's minimize myself. Let's maximize Jason Kruger. Go subscribe to his channel. Let's maximize him. Minimize myself. I'm going to put myself over here. I'm too big. I don't want to cover too much. Put myself like right there. I think that's a good size. And let's see what he has to say.
Let's talk about Tua, why don't we? Because he had a massive jump from year 2 to year 3, in my opinion. And I want to talk about what that could mean going forward for the Miami Dolphins. Like, you look at his statistics, he was, not the best through 2 years, not terrible either. And that was kind of the thing about him of, an 87 passer rating in 2020.
Yeah, and that's always been my biggest thing with Tua, right? A lot of people are like, oh, he was garbage. He was the... Jason hit it right on the head. He wasn't the best, but he wasn't the worst. You saw consistent improvement throughout his years, and you've seen it from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. Consistent improvement. He dipped down a little bit in completion percentage, but other than that, consistent improvement.
90.1 passer rating in 2021, but then that shot up to 105.5 in 2022. He was a legitimate MVP candidate and, had a real chance at winning it before getting injured.
Yep.
So,
Again, if me stopping consistently bothers you, I'm going to link the video in the comment section. I'll also link his channel in the title. Go check him out. Fantastic. But a lot of people are, oh, you guys got all hyped, blah, 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 this and that. Going into the 49ers game, Tua was a legit MVP candidate. Like, there was no way you could look at his body of work up to that time and think, nah, he sucks. Even after the 49ers-Chargers game, bounce back game against the Bills, and then that first half against the Packers, he was lighting it up. And then he fell off in the second half. Tua does that thing where he will struggle, or he needs to figure some stuff out, and then he figures it out. Patriots game, next 2 games really good. Steelers game, next 4 or 5 games really good. Then he had those 2 bad games, and then all of a sudden he started coming back, but unfortunately, like everyone talks about, and I talk about, he had to stay healthy.
Had a great year. Again, the injuries are always going to be a factor.
Yes,
one of the things
100%.
that we're just, until he shows that he can stay healthy for a bit, he's going to be 201 healthy, right? Because that's how you kind of have to view him.
Mm-hmm.
But like, even if you look at his PFF grades, you clearly see it's not just a box score statistic.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to say, oh yeah, sure, Tyreek Hill comes to town, Mike McDaniel comes to town. Sure, now you all of a sudden are playing better. But according to PFF, it's not. At least it's not just that. There's more to it than just that. As you see his grade went from 68.3 in 2021 to 81.9, a very impressive grade in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But, those are just numbers. Does the tape back it up? Well, let's start off with this play. What's going to happen here is it's going to be a zone coverage play. You have a receiver who's going to run over the middle. This is the stuff that, it's straight out of the Shanahan offense, right, where Mike McDaniel is from, of, get play actions going, get linebackers to get out of position, throw over the top. Pretty simple stuff, something that every team does, but still something Tua is good at and was good at all year. You see on this play, Tua is going to take the snap and look down the field, and you see at this point, there's a linebacker who's staying deep and is in position to try and make a play. So while Tua would love to just continue and hit his receiver, in stride, that's not really an option right here. If he tries to do that, that's going to get intercepted. And these are the little things Tua did very well last year for Miami, is I thought that he did a lot of nice subtle things that allowed the offense to really work, and part of why you saw the offense look so much worse when even Bridgewater was out there.
And that's what people don't notice. Some, they don't notice these things, and that's why I want to do my yearly film breakdown of Tua. Is everyone looks at things and they miss the subtle things. They miss him looking off safeties and then throwing. I remember I was talking about, he got to his third read because he got time, and then in the comments, some of the Tua detractors were like, he's just looking off the safety, and then you say, well, look, he's looking off the safety. Oh, you're giving him too much credit than he deserves. He does these subtle things. It did, like Jackson said, it does help having Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, but there was a huge, and I'm going to talk about this in another video, a huge drop-off in production without Tua on the field. Huge drop-off in production from Tua, from Waddle, from Hill, from the team in a whole, first downs, everything. That's the stuff that Tua brings.
Who's a fine backup. Watch how Tua is going to throw it across the sort of, kind of back towards the top of the screen as opposed to continue going towards the bottom of the screen. He read where the linebacker was, and Tua has one of the best understandings in football of understanding where the gaps in coverage are and hitting it in the biggest gap in coverage. Tua is so incredible at that, and he showed it right there. Also, something like this, what's going to happen on this play is it's going to be a man coverage play, and you're going to have a situation with, you have a receiver.
Again, there is the notion out there he only does well against zone, which I've proved wrong, but there is that notion out there.
Who's running a route over the middle. This is the route that can work. It's Jalen Waddle, who is, good. He's someone who you want to hit in this spot. Right when this play begins, you see that Tua, again, scans the field, eventually likes what he sees, but really, this throw is going to have to be very accurate. I mean, he has to time it well, and he has to get it over there in a hurry, right? Because you have a Cleveland player who can't play the ball. He's behind Waddle in a situation where he pretty much has to just run to try and keep up with Waddle. That's what the Cleveland player is doing. But as long as Tua can get it over that player while not putting too much air under it, still can be a completion. However, if he puts too much air under it, that could allow for a safety to come in and make a play. However, this throw is a thing of beauty from Tua, and that's really what Tua did last year, was he just consistently made plays. His consistency is what was key with Tua, and that's why I was really impressed.
And that is one of the things I said. Consistency. I needed to see consistency out of Tua. Now my thing is I need to see him healthy because he was consistently making plays last year. And yes, we could bring up December where he had his 2-game slump, 100%. But before that, that's where I was like, okay, he's doing what I need to see from him. Okay, cool. I'm happy because for a 4 to 5 game stretch, I was consistently seeing him make plays. I saw that consistency for about a month. I was like, there it is. And then the slump happened.
Impressed of him this year is because he went from someone who I think would still be relatively consistent, but would then have his maybe rough games. I think that was fair to say, where he would have some games where he looked really good, and then he would have that Titans game where it wasn't all on him, but some of it was on him. He did not play well in that one.
Yes,
he had
100%.
those kind of busts. This year, he didn't really have those, and he also made some really good throws, too. It wasn't just the game management stuff. Like, something like this is a good example where it's going to be it's Trent Sherfield who he's trying to throw it to now, who had a pretty good season, I thought, for the Dolphins. But anyways, it's zone coverage, quarters coverage, but the corner who's covering Sherfield on this play, not playing too far off, so there's still a potential for this for this play to be made. It's worth a look if you're Tua, worth looking over in that direction. Look at how Tua takes the snap. He is going to look over in that direction. And you see right here, again, is this open? Not really. There's maybe a window for you to make this throw, but it's going to have to be a perfect throw. But look at this throw, and also you're going to see an incredible catch on the other end. But Tua put that ball exactly where he wanted to put it.
Tua put the ball where he did that a lot, especially like you saw the Gesicki pass against the Ravens. He likes to put the ball, if you're not going to catch it, no one will. And both of those, the Gesicki catch and this catch, fantastic by the receivers.
He put it in a spot where only his receiver could get it. It was going to be either incomplete or a touchdown. That's just pinpoint accuracy. You talk about a dime, right? That's the whole thing. It's like if there was a dime, up there, would you hit it? And he would have hit that dime. That's a perfect throw by Tua, and that's kind of what allowed them to score a touchdown. And these were the things that we kind of got used to with Tua, was him consistently just making these plays. Again, something like this is another example, which, listen, a lot of these routes I showed are routes that are, in favorable situations. I think definitely the Dolphins did a great job at putting Tua in a situation to succeed, which is what they're supposed to do,
exactly.
Right? Quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, kind of need that around them. They need to be in.
And that's a knock. That's a knock on Tua, which I don't understand. Oh, well, he's got the system around him. Oh, they went out and got him weapons. Duh. What are they supposed to be like? Nope, we're going to put you in a different system that you're not going to be comfortable in, and we're going to have you play with, Doug from New Jersey. Because if you're a good quarterback, you should do it with nothing, and you should do it in a system you're not comfortable with. That is the most asinine thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
In good positions to succeed, and that's what happened. I thought Tua was in a very good position to succeed, but he still has to then do the next part and be able to be successful, right?
Exactly.
Every quarterback has games where you're going to be in a good situation, some more than others, but you have to still be able to do things well when you're in that situation, and I thought that's what Tua did last year, where, again, you see this route, over the middle, once it gets past the linebacker who's in charge of covering over the middle, it's a route that can definitely work, is a good angle. Watch as Tua takes the snap, he runs a play action, and you see right here, there is a window, but he has to wait just a bit.
That's where the pump came in.
Well timed this is. Look, right when he gets past the linebacker, the throw is made. It's a beautiful throw that allows his receiver to make the catch and continue running down the field on top of it. These were the small things that don't seem that difficult, and I'm not saying that these are incredibly difficult things, but they're not incredibly easy either, and Tua was able to make them consistently. And consistency is often key when it comes to a quarterback, because a lot of times what you think about with a quarterback is, yes, there's guys like Jameis Winston who, had probably, you look at Winston's best game versus Tua's best game, Winston probably has the best game out of the mix, but he has so much negative that it's just hard to predict, and it's hard to win with a guy like that.
Yep.
I don't know why that's the first person I thought of. But it's more so just a main point about I'm trying to compliment Tua here by talking about how consistent he is, and how, again, it really felt like not even game in and game out, but throw in and throw out last year, he was doing a very good job, and he was not having these off days. And listen, you can still point to some rougher games, and you can still point to some higher highs, I thought. He definitely wasn't completely consistent game in and game out across the board, but he got a lot more consistent this year.
Yes.
And he had some really impressive days, I thought. And I think as a whole, consistency was a positive in his performance this season. I think the bigger concern with Tua is the injuries now. The guy's racked up a ton of injuries, which is unfortunate. He doesn't have the biggest frame, and he does take a decent amount of hits. So not a great combination, as that's something that's concerning. And I think the question is how, I think there's a very real question of, will Tua get back to what he was playing at? That's something that you do have to wonder. I think it's fair. But also, I think it's fair to say Tua has, when he was out there last year, he was really good and was a big reason why the Dolphins were successful. It wasn't just he was, part of it. I mean, it kind of was. He was just a part of it, but he did a lot really well and a lot of underrated things that allowed the Dolphins to succeed. At least that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What were your thoughts?
Very, very, very good video. Again, go check him out. Jackson Kruger Sports. Go check him out. Hit that subscribe button for him. Now he did all of the film breakdown was the Cleveland Browns game, which was one of Tua's best games last year. Like I said, I'm going to be showing some of his best and his worst, and I will be talking about that. But he hit a lot of the nails on the heads on a lot of things that I've pushed back against, especially on Twitter, with some that are so anti-Tua. Now, my biggest knock on Tua, and I even said I don't want to give him the fifth-year option because it worries me, is he can't stay healthy, right? Like I said before, I needed to see consistency out of him. I saw that consistency. Was it consistent throughout the year? That's where people are getting confused with me saying, I saw the consistency I needed. Was it consistent throughout the year? No. I saw 3 games of really good. He got hurt. Then I saw 4 to 5 of really good. Then we had the West Coast game. Then I saw the Bills game, and I saw the first half of the Packers game where I was like, he's coming back. Here he goes. And then concussion. In my honest opinion, I feel that if he never got concussed against the Packers, there was that backswing that Tua does. And I think we would have beat the Packers. I think he's the kryptonite to the Patriots. We would have beat the Patriots. We would have beat the Jets. And the Dolphins would have had a 12 to 13 game team with Tua out there. They would have won the Packers game. They would have won the Patriots game. They would have won the Jets game. So it's a 12-game win. And Tua would have been, what, as a starter, 12-2? He would have lost the 3 games. 12-3. I honestly was very happy with what I saw out of him. Again, he had his slumps, but he was learning from it. And that's the next step I need to see from him on-field stuff for this upcoming year. I need to see him make those changes. Again, we're going to talk about it in the film breakdown. But I was happy with what I saw. Now my hesitation is I don't want to pay him $22 million, $23 million if he's not going to be able to stay healthy. I don't want to give him a 4-year contract if I'm going to get a minimum of 12 games out of him. That worries me because the Dolphins need him on the field to win, because when he's on the field, they win. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I have my reservations about Tua. I had a lot of good things I saw about Tua. We're going to do this in a film breakdown, the positives and negatives. There's a lot of Tua talk is going to be happening because obviously the Dolphins are very happy with him, and they have already announced him as the starter next year. There's a lot of things that we're going to be discussing, not only Tua. Obviously, I cover the entire Miami Dolphins. but there's a lot. We're going to be talking about draft, free agency, prospects, the defensive line, the offensive line needs to be addressed. The secondary needs to be addressed. I already talked about Vic Fangio and the defense. I have a lot planned. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button if you like what you see. Again, we're getting closer and closer to 40K. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.